Hey everybody, it's Susan with Pumpkin Hill Stampers. I have a fun Stampin' Show and Tell for you today. As you can see, we're going to be working with the Abstract Impressions stamp set and dies. And I created this card to enter in the Global Design Project number 142 back in June. So all my details will be on my newsletter next week, or you can check out my blog and go check out their site for all the other cards that were designed with this theme in mind. Okay, let me go ahead and let's start putting it together, and as I go I'll show you what I did. Okay, so to start I have a seafoam green card base. Okay, so that's just our standard size, and I'm going to take my Big Shot, bring that up on the table. So now normally we use our dies to cut, right? Well, I didn't want to cut the front of my card. I wanted to kind of emboss it, but I didn't want a super strong emboss. So what I'm doing is I'm putting this down on the face of my card. Okay, this is going to be my card front. And I've got this where it's pointing up, the cutting edge is up. And because if I'm going to run it through, I might as well cut something. I have a piece of cardstock that's not going to be used on this card, but I'm just going to cover that over the top. Then I'm putting my clear cutting plate on top, and I'm going to run that through. So it's not going to cut my seafoam green, it's going to cut the one on top. But what it is going to do is it's going to give me a slight impression on my card base of that die template. Okay, and it was very tight to go through there. So beware, it will be tight. Now I know we are selling some new impression pads for the Big Shot. I don't have them yet. So when I get those I will play with them, and this may be a technique that we can do better with something different. But for now, this is what I have and this is what I used. So that's what I do. I show you how I did it. Okay, so I just have a slight impression texture on my cardstock now for that background. Alright, next step is we're using the Garden Impressions DSP, and this sketch had a diagonal slice come down, so I'm going to show you how I cut that piece with the diagonal. So I have my paper trimmer. See, I'll turn it around this way, and I'm starting with 6 inches by 3 inches. Okay, and I'm going to put my cardstock in here. So now I'm putting it at the 2-inch mark, so I already have 1 inch past my cutter blade. But now I'm going to bring it down a little bit and I'm going to twist it. I'm going to put this tip on 2 and I'm going to put this tip on 1. So just position your ends. So 1 is on 2 and 1 is on 1. And just hold that firm and give it a slice. And see, I've got 2 pieces now on that diagonal cut. Now my card's only 5.5 inches wide, like a standard card, so I'm just going to put these in. And let's see, cut these at, there it is. So I'm going to put these at 5.5, right there. Just trim off the ends. So now I have 2 pieces to use on cards. Okay, so that's how I did my diagonal cut. Alright, so there's our second element on our card. The third thing I'm using is from the metallic duo ribbon. As you can see, I've used just about all of my shaded spruce option here. I'm going to take a piece and I'm going to wrap it all the way around through the inside of my card. So I'm going to need 2 times the length. I'm just going to trim that off. Okay, so that's going to go there. Now what other pieces do I need? I need to stamp some flowers. So I'm using powder pink and melon mambo because they happen to be the pinks in the paper. So I'm going to be using them. Now I'm using the fuller rose to do lighter pink, and I'm just going to stamp that 2 times. Okay, and now I've got my melon mambo, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp it, twist it, and stamp it again. So once, and then I'm just going to twist and stamp it again. I just wanted 2 pinks on there, and I didn't want to use the 3rd stamp. I wanted to not go that crazy. So just stamp, and you can stamp it again. You just kind of get more variegated petals in there. Okay. Now these we're going to have to fussy cut because there is no die for these flowers. So just bring your scissors in, and you can go as close as you want to the edge, or you can leave a little halo. So everyone kind of fussy cuts in their own way. But I do find the paper snips are great. They just kind of go right along your image smoothly. A nice consistent cutting stride to them. So, alright, now we free up this second flower. So you can see on my card I also have shaded spruce die cut flowers. So I trust you know how to die cut your flowers on the Big Shot, so I'm not going to show you that today. Okay, there's our 2 stamped flowers. So I have 3 shaded spruce flowers to use. I've also pre-cut a stitched shape circle, and I'm going to use Melon Mambo to stamp Kindness Changes Everything. I really like that sentiment from this set. So there's that. Easy enough. Okay, so what else do I need? Let's see, I'm going to use the basic adhesive backed sequins, and these happen to come in the soft seafoam, so that tied in just right with my color choices today. Alright, so let's go ahead and put it together. Now I thought, after I saw some of the other ones that went in for this challenge, I would put this together a little differently, but not much. So let me start with my snail, and I'm going to put some snail in the back of my DSP. Isn't that a great Melon Mambo piece as well? Okay, so on my first card I put it right down at the bottom. Then I thought maybe I would move it up just a smidge on this card that I made today. So it's still the same thing, but now I just have a little bit of that seafoam showing at the bottom. Okay, the next thing I do is I'm going to add a little bit of snail right there. And I'm going to tack my ribbon to it. Okay, and then I'm going to bring it through my card. Okay, I'm just wrapping it through the center. And I'm going to tack the other end right there as well. Okay, so that's just a simple wrap and tack with some adhesive. Okay, so now we have our circle die, and I'm going to add some dimensionals for that. Now I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to add a little bit of insurance. So that's where my ribbon overlaps. I'm just going to put another dimensional right there. Just a little extra adhesive insurance, I guess. Now I'm going to position my sentiment. So I flip this over. Now, if I want my flower to be right about there, and I don't want it to overlap too much. See how I put that down, and now I'm just putting this in? That'll work perfectly. Alright, so placement, sometimes you have to think about it before you just stick stuff down. Now I'm adding these with dimensionals as well. So this one's going to overlap my tag a little bit here. You can see on my first one I had to trim it down a little bit because it was too big. This one I'm going to tuck just behind, okay, up on top. Now we've got these 3 shaded spruce, and I'm going to use my fine tip adhesive. Okay, and these are going to get glued right to the face of the card. You don't need too much, so I'm just going to flip these over, and very carefully I'm just going to drop some adhesive on the back of these. Now when this adhesive dries, it will be clear and not sticky. So if you have a little bit that gets on your card, don't panic. When it dries, you'll be fine. Alright, so I'm flipping the first one over and getting that little tag out of there from the die cut. So I'm going to position one here. I'm going to position one down and marry it with this one on the tag front. And I'll put another one up here on the top. Okay, so I'm just giving those a little press. Oops, a little longer. A little press to adhere the two papers together. This one too. Alright, and then last but not least, we add these sequins. So I just put one in the center of each of my flowers. I thought about using pearls, but then I remembered I had the sequins and they are just about the right size to fill that right in. And don't forget, as I often do, put that pin back in your fine tip glue so it doesn't dry up on you. Okay, so there is the card recreated for you today. Little change, so you can choose which one you think you like better. It's a subtle change, but there's a little change. And I hope you enjoyed the project today. Now remember, the Abstract Impressions bundle is my featured bundle for the bundle to go for the month of July. So if you shop with me and spend $75, I will send you 5 exclusive card projects, tutorials, videos, and PDFs to you at the end of the month. And you also have the option to purchase some product kits to make the cards for those tutorials. So I have the link below for all of my information on that program that I run. And if you just want the tutorial for this card, sign up for my show and tell news. Next week I'll have the 3 projects from this week featured with the links to the videos again, and then also to the PDF tutorials that you could save. Alright guys, so that's it for today. Do some fun stamping. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.